Here's how you look pretty like him, ladies and gentlemen.
This is my entire hair.
You have half
makeup.
hair and mask hair.
Yeah. A mask hair. Do I look wonderful?
Uh,
As long as I've been into drone racing, I've been a fan of Runcam. Back in the old days of FPV, the only option we had were these terrible CCD board cameras, and companies started coming out just to produce FPV cameras. One of them was Foxeer, the other is Runcam. In the last couple weeks, Runcam has released 2 separate brand new products to the market that they sent to me for us to play with today. The first is their new Runcam Racer 5, which ostensibly is just a Runcam Racer 4, but it's got a gyro on board, and I'll tell you why that's a really exciting feature as we get into it, but yeah, that's all you need to know about this one. And then the second thing that they've introduced is the Runcam Hybrid 2. So I've had one of these before, the Hybrid 1, fell in love with it to kind of combine it with like a DVR kind of feel. You have 2 barrels here on this camera. One is the HD recording camera that saves to an SD card on this board, and then you have your actual FPV camera, which is a Phoenix 2. So you're going to get 4K out of one, and the other one is going to go straight into your DVR. And the reason that you have 2 of these is because it eliminates an issue in the past that has happened with cameras like this of creating extra latency. Latency would be created by the fact that it had to process the HD video, turn it into the 4:3 standard definition video that it would send back down through the camera. But this, by having just a separate camera, a second one pointing in the exact same place, gives you real-time video through that analog camera. So we're going to install both the Hybrid 2 and the Racer 5, take them out to the field and give them both a shot. So I've got 2 separate, otherwise identical racing builds here. We're going to put the Hybrid in one of these. I assume it's going to fit. Might be a little bit tight of a fit in one of them, and then we're going to put the Racer 5 in the other, and then we'll be able to get kind of similar laps on a track, one with the Racer 5 testing it out for speed, and then the Hybrid for getting some really sweet HD footage whilst racing. Really excited about it, so let's dive into the builds. Alright, so on this one, we're going to install the Runcam Hybrid, but I need a little bit more space to work with in here, so I'm going to install some longer standoffs as well. Otherwise we won't be able to achieve our goals of world domination here. I mean, install a camera. Okay, and then we can take the camera out of here, put it into the Runcam. This way's up, and we'll put it in the bottom. Alright, so we've got the taller standoffs installed on the camera. This side is up, it looks like. So we're going to mount this back up on the bird. Get your WoW stick at getfpv.com. You too can screw electronically. Actually, that looks like it'll work. That looks so cool. Alright, so we got to put some long ones in the back. This comes with this plug here. I don't know why. Like, they have the other end of it, so I can like plug in this cable and then plug it into the drone, but I'm just going to cut it and solder it straight on because science. I hope this is 5 volt. Okay, so I'm going to plug in the camera first, and I'm going to put this on the back, and stick around on there. I'm going to go ahead and use my Hoda D6 Plus smart charger with the power supply mode, so I'm plugged straight into the quad, and I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and it's going to send 24 volts through the quad, and hopefully it doesn't blow up. Didn't. And the Runcam thing is on. So now we should be able to look through here. Setting video. So the camera works. That's a good start. So now we got to figure out if we're actually recording anything on the Runcam Hybrid. But so far so good. Let's get an SD card. Okay, so the card is inserted, blinking. So maybe it's recording. Hard to tell. So I'll hit it again, and that seemed to acknowledge something. So it seems like that's worked. So the intended use for this is to have this be built into like a stack. Came with this little piece that you can stick over top to make sure that the SD card stays in. So I'm going to try to kind of jerry-rig that to work for us so that I don't lose that card. Okay, let's see if it recorded. DCIM Runcam footage. Look! Footage. I got nothing to react to there, but hey, we got it. So we know it's working. Okay, I'm just slapping this top plate back on, and I figured out how to use the QR code settings modification for the Runcam. So basically, I can program a QR code on the app, and then hold that QR code up in front of the camera so that the camera will then read the settings that I have pre-programmed in the QR code to change it to update the settings to like where I want them to be. So if I go into the app and I click QR code configuration, it basically gives me a list of options that I can change. I can change the video quality, obviously to high loop recording, so it would like restart if it filled up the card. I don't want that. Auto record, means as soon as the camera comes on, it starts recording. So basically, as soon as I power on the drone, it starts recording, which is awesome. Volume, I'm going to set to low, and then ISO and shutter I'm going to leave as auto because I don't have any ND filters or any way to stop down the footage currently. So when I hit apply, it prompts me with a step-by-step instructions, and the first thing it says is make sure the SD card is inserted. So we're going to go ahead, put the SD card in. Powering the camera via the battery, make sure the SD card is inserted. So go ahead and power the drone. Short press the power button to stop recording. If you turned off the auto recording, please ignore this step. So I'm going to push the button in standby mode, blue LED constantly on, which it is. Long press mode button to switch to setting mode. So if I hold down this top button, it goes green. Point the camera lens with the QR code at a distance greater than 5 centimeters. After the configuration is successfully applied, the camera will switch to standby mode automatically. So this green switch should turn blue as soon as it successfully reads this QR code that it's programmed. Boom. That's cool. So this one's ready to go. So let's switch over and get the Runcam 5 ready to rock. That actually looks so cool to have both cameras coming out like that. And just like, brap, 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 brap. But I mean, this is going to add like almost no weight to a racing drone, so we should be able to keep going really fast, but also get HD footage. So as a racer, a really good use for something like this would be that you could get really high quality DVR of a racetrack without impacting, like, without having to go for like a GoPro run or using an Insta360 Go or something like that. This is not going to, it's going to very slightly change the weight of the quad, but probably to the point where it's not noticeable to most mortals. And so then you're going to be able to do playback and get really high quality DVR to be studying that when you're between races. So that's really cool to me. Okay, moving on to drone number 2. Should be a much simpler process here. All we have to do is swap out the camera. Might even be able to just use the same plug. Big time. Yeah, let's go. No work will be done today. So it's got the same set of plugs on the back. That's voltage, ground, video, VBAT. I think this will still work. Okay, so let's just go ahead and power it up and see where we are without doing any work. DX on. There it is. Okay, so I see -7 angle. Oh yeah, totally. It's totally working. Plus 90. So that's straight up. 45, 0. Okay, so it's ready to go. There's probably more settings that are worth like diving into with the Runcam 5 here, like your sharp settings and all this stuff. But like this has all been covered in previous Runcam Racer line cameras, because there's nothing that's changed really apart from the addition of the built-in gyro, which is really cool, and I'll explain why in a second. Also, it's white, so it looks sick. So racing is all about consistency, and one of the things that we're not easily able to be consistent with right now in racing is the angle of your camera. My best way of judging my camera angle is to literally just hold the quad and go like, it's good enough. However, changing the angle of your camera by just a few degrees dramatically changes the throttle input that you would have to give in order to achieve the same flight from one flight to another. So by putting a gyro into the camera, what Runcam is doing is allowing us to be able to be consistent with setting our camera angle. Now, ideally, your camera angle should never change on purpose, but, you know, things happen. It gets loose, you rebuild it, you work on it, and it gets changed. So now what I can do is set the quad perfectly level like this, and then watch my DVR, or my OSD, and I can just barely change the angle of the tilt of the camera until I get the degree angle that I want. So if I want to say 45 degrees, now I'm at 45. So I want 50. I'll just keep moving it up until I get it to 50. So now I know when I take off that it's going to be exactly what I expect it to be. So that's kind of a niche feature for some people, but I think for racers especially, having the ability to judge your camera tilt exactly to where you expect it to be on the line before you ever take off is extremely cool and extremely powerful. So I am really excited to be able to use that to consistently judge my camera height. Plus, the video out of the Runcam Racer looks freaking amazing. Like, I've been using the same Runcam Racer line since the Racer 1, so that would have been like 2.5 years ago now. So just, you know, a next iteration of the same thing is going to be awesome. So we've got them all built up. It's dark out right now, but tomorrow morning we'll head out and see if we can get these things on track. Have a little fun with these two new Runcam products. in the field.
So we're out in the field. It's a miserable day. I wasn't really even planning on doing any training today or anything. I'm just out here to fly these cameras for you guys. So if you haven't yet liked, subscribed, commented, and all those things, do it now because I'm out here busting my balls for you.
A little aggressive.
Got the two quads that we built last night, one with the Hybrid, one with the Racer5, and we're gonna just get them out on the track. We've set up a little track, a little bit of a, what I would call a little bit of low camera tilt track, so like 45 or below, where normally I'm trying to run like 55 or so. There's just a lot of really intense switchbacks and stuff like that. So we're gonna use the Runcam to set our angle, and we're gonna get out on track. So first I'm gonna power up on my DVR here, and then you wanna find a level surface. Car's probably pretty close to level. Make sure that it's balanced, and then look at the camera, and I can see in the bottom left that it's at more like 40 degrees. So I'm just gonna come in here and bump that tilt up a little bit. 43, 44, 45, looks pretty good. So now I know that my camera angle is consistent every single time I take off for a race, so I can just check that every time I come in for a landing, especially after, even just in my warm-up laps just now, I crashed out. So yeah, let's take it up and get in the air. Also, this tune sounds kind of funny. I'm not sure why. I think it's these props. I haven't run these props on these racing yet. It's also very cold. Oh, scheisse. Okay, so good learning moment. I crashed because it's so freaking windy. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in and check that angle. And these props. All right, let's set it back down. 43, so it bumped down a little bit, so we'll just give it a little bit of a back up to 45 where we wanted it. That's pretty neat, actually. You'll have to forgive how terrible I am at flying right now. It's been a long time since I've flown a 5-inch drone, let alone a real drone. Just going for smooth at this point. Woo! The wind is taking the gates over. Like, I'm hitting like 2-foot tall gates. Forgot the track. In terms of the picture out of the camera, it looks phenomenal. I mean, there's not much change between the Racer 3, 4, and 5 in terms of like what the actual picture is like. It's mostly just like other features like the gyro. But the Racer series is by far my favorite look out of a camera, especially when it comes to like varying conditions. So like having to fly it at night for like a night race or in like an LED course or something like that. They've got like different profiles that you can switch between. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see everything that I want to on the course. Like the ground is really obvious. So like altitude management is one of the most important things when racing. And so like having the detail in the ground available so I can make sure that I'm seeing the distance above the ground is really helpful and useful. The field of view is right where I like it, nice and wide. Yeah, it's just right where it's at. I love it. Yeah, it's not easy to fly flat out and talk at the same time, which I'm definitely not flat out right now, but close enough with how little practice I've had. Oh, I'm about to break something. I can feel it. So yeah, I mean, the gyro information shows through the whole flight. Oh my gosh. But you're definitely not interested in like what your flight angle is or anything like that. It doesn't matter. But having the ability to set it before you take off is really, really nice. Okay, I think that'll do it for the Racer 5. Hopefully, I wish we could try more conditions today, but we're just getting really flat and boring. So let's switch over to the Hybrid, see if it's as low latency as the other one so that we can get good HD footage while we're ripping around the track. Now I don't know what camera angle I'm at. I haven't tested these quads in a while either, so hopefully they're all... Oh, it's telling me that it's recording up in the top right corner. That's cool. If there is latency, I can't tell. Picture is different. It's like a little bit warmer / a little bit brighter. A little bit sharper, maybe? I can't really quantify. It looks like CCD.
Because they advertise less
No, CMOS.
Less shimmer in the Phoenix 2 over the 1. They claim 20 milliseconds of latency on their site.
What's standard?
Uh,
So like I don't even know. I just don't even give a shit.
I thought it was like 10 or 15 for racing, but don't quote me on that.
Something feels a little different on the roll axis, like when I'm doing like snap rolls to, oh my god. Still says it's recording, but I don't have a turtle fin, so I'm not even gonna try to flip it over. So it was definitely recording even after a kind of nasty crash. That's good. Nothing fell out. But yeah, I was able to get the recording stopped and saved, so hopefully we didn't lose anything on that. I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to be. It was showing that in the goggles, but good to know that I can take a crash. Okay, here we go, flight 2. I just had some sort of weird stutter in the video. Oh, just bounced off everything. Still says it's recording. Keep going. Yeah, would I run this in a heat? I don't think so, but for like a GoPro lap or like maybe like one of my qualifiers or something, if I was trying to get some footage, absolutely. Basically, I'm competing against the Insta360 Go in this aspect, right? Because the Go weighs like 20 grams and I can just slap it on top of any racing drone. But this would just be a more built-in situation. But I would say that this negatively impacts the flight characteristics from a latency perspective more than an Insta360 Go does. Like, I'm just not quite as confident as I was on the Racer5, which is designed for racing. See, I just keep like barely bipping stuff. And yeah, I'm talking to camera, but I was doing the same thing with the 5. I come back at a really bent prop. Yeah, I think there's just like a touch more latency than the Racer. I can feel it when I'm in the roll movement, which is the most aggressive in the way I fly. Because it'll just be like a little bit later than I expect it to be sometimes. But it's like not all the time. Like sometimes I feel super locked in. Maybe my brain is getting cold or something. But how does it look compared to DVR? Are you enjoying the look of the video compared to just watching DVR? What we should have done is bring the Insta360 Go to compare. We'll throw some old Go footage on there. I think the Insta360 Go will still win over this because you can still use flow state on the Go. So like having this stabilization on a racetrack looks really cool because it makes it a lot easier to like see opponents. I don't know, I think it makes it more digestible when you're looking at footage online. Like for people that aren't used to seeing FPV racing, it's very spastic. Having the Go on there makes it a little bit more digestible. What's the word I'm looking for? Less jarring, a little easier to see. So I just unplugged it without stopping the recording first. The second recording after that, you'll just see my face when it starts recording, and then we'll know if we lost that one or not. But I think they have it designed that it will not cancel the recording or anything. So one thing that I wanted to do here as part of this was to kind of show the difference between like what a GoPro looks like and what the Runcam Hybrid looks like, just so you can see the difference in bit rate and higher quality image and all that stuff. But then you can also make your decision on like, you know, having the frickin' chungus of a camera on here compared to pretty much effectively no weight gain with the Runcam Hybrid. So you can kind of decide like how you would want to use this in a racing perspective, but then also in how the picture looks as well. So just some extra information here as we go through this whole process. GoPro versus Runcam Hybrid 2. Okay, so we're getting rained out, but I think we got all the shots that we need. Yeah, we'll get it back, take a look at the computer and see what they look like. But yeah, we've run the 5, the Hybrid 2, compared it to the GoPro, got a bunch of DVR, so I think that's what we need. Let's get out of here.